Oh, welcome back, everybody. I'm actually here in Hawaii on my way back home to Las Vegas tonight. I've been on vacation this week. Usually when I'm traveling, I take products with me on the road to review. It's kind of fun to test out while traveling, but this week I needed a bit more of a break, so I don't have a product review for you this week. But I did put together a Q&A of questions submitted by viewers. Stick around also for a couple announcements at the end. I hope you enjoy it. Grape Green asks, how long do you plan on continuing YouTube? I can imagine as long as possible, but if not, what's the next step? I've thought about that. I don't really have an answer for you. I'm going to do it as long as I can, as long as I feel like I'm able to contribute and it sustains me. I'm going to continue as long as I can. I do think eventually I'll probably end up selling things online after my review days are over because I have a pretty good idea what people want. I do have a small online store I've kind of created, and I'm still kind of in the process of setting up. But I think right now the problem with Amazon is there's kind of a credibility issue with a lot of the vendors on there. There's fake reviews, there's paid reviews, and people don't even know what to buy. You can get a 5-star item with thousands of reviews and you get a piece of junk. So I think eventually I'm going to have an online store. Obviously I can't compete with Amazon, but I'll have enough things in there that I think that I will have used myself that I could at least vouch for those things. And maybe I'll be able to parlay my review career into an online store. I don't know. Maybe not. On the other hand, you might just see me at 80 years old still reviewing the next gadgets. I don't know. We'll see. This person asks, how much money would you say you've probably spent over the lifetime of this channel if you had to guess? Well, I have kind of an incomplete spreadsheet of all the expenses I've done. If you're talking about just products alone, it's somewhere in the range between $20,000 and $30,000 over 5.5 years. That's not counting equipment and other expenses, but just products alone, over 20 grand. Martin asks, hi, have you ever bought an item to review that you thought was pointless but turned out to be quite good and still use it often? That happens quite a bit, actually. The first one that comes to my mind is one called the Bowl Huggers. Now, it seemed like it was useful to some people. I didn't think it was gonna be useful to me. Every time I make oatmeal, every time I make soup or stew, I use the Bowl Huggers. I'm actually quite happy with it. I actually use them almost every day because I have oatmeal most mornings. So there's a lot of examples like that. That's the first one that comes to my mind. Keith asks, what are the items you review that you don't ever need in your personal life but you review for us? Ironically, I would say it's probably egg gadgets. Even though I've done so many egg gadgets out there, I feel like my cooking skills are good enough I can make an egg without a fancy gadget. Some of them I use for a while, but in the end I usually just use basic cooking utensils and I do fine without them. Although for some reason they always seem to come out with egg gadgets and everybody seems to be interested if they work or not. Most of them work, but they're not necessary. All right, so Jason Strong asks, when you go on vacation, what is the one thing you bring that you love to use that you have reviewed on your channel? My answer would be the Quick Flip Hero hoodie, which is a reversible hoodie that turns into a backpack. And the reason for that is if I'm, say I'm on the plane, gets kind of cold, got my jacket on. It feels nice. Or say I'm outside and the sun gets too strong. Put it on, protect my head, because this does not do well in the sun. But say for example, I'm out and about and it gets kind of warm. I don't have to be stuck carrying this jacket with me. I can actually convert it to a backpack, hit the souvenir shops. So not only do I not have a jacket to worry about, I've got a backpack so I can carry a few things with me. I don't think it's really marketed as a travel item, but to me, it's one of the most valuable travel items that I do have. Brad Ass TV asks, what are your favorite types of reviews to do? From watching your videos, I would assume it's egg gadgets. Well, that's a good assumption, but it's not right. I would say anything that requires me to be outdoors, like this. Anything I can do to get different sights and sounds and mix things up, I'm always happier than if I'm just kind of stuck inside. I don't mind doing indoor reviews, but I prefer being outside. This person asks, what was your most fun video to make? Now, I've had a lot of fun videos over the years, but the first one that comes to mind, maybe because I'm traveling, was the Travel Gadgets video I did last year. When I went to Florida, my friend Mike Benson and I went out on his boat and we dragged this phone case behind it. Maybe it wasn't technically one of my best videos as far as the technical review goes, but I did have a lot of fun making it. All right, real quick before I get to the next question, I actually have kind of a little bonus here. I'm in Hawaii, I've been wanting to try this. They have something here called the Haupia Pie. It's described as a fried coconut pie on the McDonald's website. There's no other information about what it is. I've got one right here. It's served in their apple pie box. In fact, I got another one. I opened it a minute ago. It was an apple pie, so hopefully this is the Haupia Pie. It's supposed to be fried coconut. We'll see. Check it out. Here we go. We shall see. And it looks like an apple pie. Hopefully it's not another apple pie. Let's see what happens here. I'm gonna crack this thing open. Oh yeah, that's it. That's not apple pie. Look at this. Now it's supposed to be a warm kind of coconut flavor to it. Let's check it out. I'm kind of curious. It looks like, it looks almost like pudding. It kind of smells like fried coconut. Let me see. I should probably take another bite for educational purposes. All right, well, the outer texture is the same as their apple pie, but on the inside, it's kind of almost like this warm pudding that's coconut flavored. I love coconut, so it's kind of good. Too bad they only sell it here in Hawaii. Otherwise, I'd get it more often. So if you ever find yourself in Hawaii, make sure you hit a McDonald's and try their haupia pie. It's pretty good. All right, so with that out of the way, let's get back to the next question. We've got a couple of similar questions here about pans. Fat Thor says, what's your favorite pan that you've tested so far? And Chris says, I'm finally moving out of my parents' house and into my apartment. I want to buy a pan to cook. Out of all the pans you reviewed, which would you recommend? Do you think is the best? Thanks, man. Your videos are the best. First of all, Chris, I want to say thank you and congratulations on moving out. I hope it goes well for you. I would say of all the pans that I reviewed, I would say at this point still I would go with the Ninja Foodi Neverstick pan. That's still my favorite. It's real heavy. It feels like a cast iron skillet. But with these non-stick pans, you gotta take care of them. You can't use metal utensils in there. You have to let them cool first. Don't use aerosol sprays. There's kind of a basic care, and it'll last you a long time. With that being said, there's no replacement for a good old-fashioned cast iron skillet. Travis Gould asks, can you do a can opener review? I've used $30 can openers and $5 ones, and neither of them seem to last long ever. I actually did 2 can opener comparisons back, I think it was in 2018, maybe 2019. One of them was manual can openers and one of them was hands-free can openers. So I don't really think I'll be doing another one, but I will link my original can opener reviews below if you'd like to check those out, because I'm still using my top pick from the manual can opener review. It still held up out of these years. I think it was a KitchenAid. So I would definitely check into that one if you're looking for a can opener. MEL asks, how much time per week do you spend researching items to review? Now, if you're talking about how much time do I spend researching things I'm going to review, it's a lot. It's not uncommon for me to spend 8 straight hours on Amazon or on spreadsheets looking for things to review, because it's really kind of difficult to find a balance between things that haven't been over-reviewed on YouTube, things that are new enough that they're interesting, things that I feel like I can present with some sort of an interesting review. I would say there's no average as far as that goes, but I do try to spend as much time on researching a product as I can. But I will say I do carefully read the instructions of all the products I review, unlike some people out there that seem to just toss them aside and tear into it without even knowing what they're doing. This person asks, whatever happened to the Yoshi copper grill mats? Have you ever thought about redoing some old videos now that you're more experienced? It's kind of funny, I've actually thought about that exact thing before, because I look back at those old videos, and even though I agree with my eventual conclusions of those products, I think my process presented could have been better. The problem with something like the Yoshi copper grill mats is they're not really sold that much anymore. People aren't really interested in it, so it's kind of no point in going back and revisiting a product from 5 years ago that nobody's interested in. I do think at some point I'll probably revisit some of those early products, the few that are maybe still out there, and see what I can do. So while I can't say for sure, it does sound kind of enticing sometimes to go back and look at some of those first products and re-review them through the lens of 6 more years of experience. A couple people asked about my son. Brandon, case 6, said, will your son be in more vids? My friend Gail asked, what happened to Brandon's channel? I enjoyed his content a lot. Thank you, your friend from Belgium. What happened to Brandon's channel is he got a job and started working a lot. Like, I hardly ever see him anymore. But he does have some changes come up in his life, so I'm hoping maybe he'll start posting again, or at least maybe be on my channel more often. But you will definitely see him on my Shark Tank series where we test out food products. Smeghead asked, I watched your newest review and saw the bean dip. It looks yummy. How do you make it? I originally made that bean dip as part of a Super Bowl party back in the early 90s. It's just refried beans, a big old glob of sour cream, a handful of shredded cheese, and I put some Frank's Red Hot in there. Mix it all up, warm it up on the stove. Very simple, always turns out pretty good. Lynx Rodriguez says, you've talked a little about your favorite bands of the past. Are there any modern or indie bands, musicians that you listen to? Well, I'm actually about to celebrate my birthday and I'm in my 50s now, so I'm not exactly a young person, but I do like to listen to modern music. I would say it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine when people my age always complain about how bad music nowadays is. Well, there's bad music in every era. There's also good music in every era if you look hard enough and open your mind to what's out there. There's great music being put out there all the time if you look hard enough. Modern bands I listen to would be things like Good Tiger, Tesseract, A Marionette, progressive R&B like Thundercat and Hiatus Coyote. Even that Silk Sonic album is pretty good. There's a lot of good music out there now if you look hard enough and ignore some of the garbage that's being played on the radio. Alex Jordan asks, how do you handle rude or aggressive people on the road when you drive? Like people that deliberately tailgate or that flip you off for the dumbest reasons. When I was younger, I was probably one of those people. I was kind of an aggressive driver. Now I'm kind of the opposite. I just get out of their way. And there's no point in trying to match these people's aggression because it doesn't get you anywhere. So if someone's tailgating me, I'll just let them go through. Let them get pulled over by a cop later on. When I was younger, one time I flipped off a car when I was in my 20s and rolled down the window, and there was a carload of very angry men that followed me for a while. And I don't think I ever flipped anybody off in the car again. It's a bad idea to flip someone off in the car because you don't know who you're flipping off. Road rage is a bad thing, so I just let the angry people be angry and get out of their way. All right, a couple of quick announcements. And number one, I do have an online store that's kind of a work in progress. A lot of the things in there are products I reviewed. I actually have a direct line of communication with the factory that makes these products, so I have a bit of control over the quality. So feel free to go there, poke around, and give me any feedback that you have on that. Again, it's kind of a work in progress. Number two, freakinreviews.com always has a giveaway going on, usually of things that I've reviewed that I liked. So be sure to click the link below to enter that. Well, I got a flight to catch. I'm going back home, getting back to work for my next product review, which will be online next week. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time. My God, so loud, so loud. That is loud. Oh, is that obnoxious? Every time I'm here, there's always some loud car honking down there.